So, Shoreside, this is ROV pilot. I was going to call that the end of the transverse passes, unless you want me to do something else here.
No, that's good.
Okay.
Do you have the modified plan, pilot?
That you just talked to Nav about?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So 60% coverage, and then orbit around the brick pile, and then we'll do some close-ups.
Yes, sir.
All right. All right. Let's get that ship move.
Jim, there is, not to throw a wrench into this any further, but there is the possibility of slightly increasing elevation from half meter to 1 meter.
All right, I'm going to put it
that would be another time saver because you'd have more ship within your frame, but it'll be lower resolution.
On this side or that side?
Fewer pixel count per pass.
I'm not sure.
Wouldn't that drastically change?
I'm loath to lose resolution. I'd rather that we stick with the singular resolution that we have in terms of that. I mean, I think if we've taken the time to mow the ship,
there's the bow.
Maybe across the beam,
get
with a
bow
higher
view as your
I
reference.
don't
Would you
want
like to request a ship move?
That.
And your heading's going to be
Range.
like
5 meters.
By changing altitude
Bearing.
with one resolution.
150
Okay, let's stick to the new
degrees.
plan.
Yeah.
Speed
Given the
decimal 2
nature of this
knots.
site as well, I think higher resolution is going to give us the kind of detail we need for ongoing
Good copy,
characterization. Thank you.
So you're thinking a heading of
145, 150. So you got the bow view, so maybe either go port or starboard, pick your side, and then...
With your software,
go on to
is
100%
higher altitude, is 2 different altitudes even possible to converge that data?
And it's perpendicular to the other line. So
Yes, it is, but that works a lot better on land than underwater. It will estimate the height from the object. The problem is that because we're bringing our own light, there's no way to increase the intensity of lighting to compensate for the distance from the object. So the first step after aligning the photos, which it will do, will be to generate the dense point cloud from this. And when you have 2 views of the same thing, one darker than the other, you're going to have both points represented in the point cloud, and that looks sort of like noise within the model that you generate.
As far as the brightness goes, I'm actually continuously writing the iris, and it does require continuous changing, and the hottest point is... I'm keeping it at 80, and the center is at 80, and it's rolling off to about 70 on the edges of the screen. So we do have the ability to iris change to keep that at 80 and 70, but it will roll off more on those edges than the center.
Does that make sense?
So if you open the iris further, the ROV would have to slow to prevent motion smear. Is that correct?
10.
Yeah.
And 1...
no, not really.
And that ship move is complete, pilot.
Copy.
I wouldn't expect any motion blur, although you definitely are going to get fewer pixels. I mean, those pixels are definitely going to be spread out, so you're definitely going to lower your resolution.
Right. It's more 150.
Yeah, I don't think we want that.
Right. Should we try a pass?
Yeah, make sure to go 100% dirt.
But that's interesting to know, and actually, for future projects, if we are moving, within the foreseeable future into 4K and 8K camera systems, there may be possibility with that in the future by having more pixels within each frame.
I just completed my estimate
to
for
reduce
60%.
Overall
and it looks like we'll finish up that survey just as we have to leave bottom.
Shipwreck site.
All right.
Yeah, and also the distribution of light becomes very critical, like you said, from the center to each edge of the screen is down 10% in our current lighting configuration.
All I've been doing is absolutely beautiful, and so I'll take this opportunity to again thank
Did you copy
all
that,
the nav
Bones?
people, the ROV pilots,
So I made an
the
estimate on
Okeanos
the
crew,
60%.
the videographers.
It's pretty much to the
You know,
minute.
it takes a huge ship and a huge team to be able to accomplish the kind of science, this bleeding edge science that you guys are doing right now.
So that would be the
So
same
thank you again to
area that we
Noah.
covered.
Thank you again to the volunteers. Thank you again to GFOE.
Port to starboard surveys.
We love you for this. Thank you.
Amen.
Yeah, I think it's going to be.
So we have another update on the 60% coverage and the time it will take. If we were to do the exact same area that we covered in the last set of tracks, in other words, inside and outside of the ship, it's going to take the rest of the time that we have on the bottom.
Yeah, looks like it's not that angle we estimated wasn't right.
But what if we focused on the central area?
Okay. That's pretty much the end of it, right?
Okay, so it will produce the model based on what we've done already. We know that from 15377 because we did the stern portion back of the pumps aft with that. We could supplement that instead with orbits around key features that could be integrated into the data. So like the ballast scatters, the stern gudgeon, the brick pile, and we could go with that, and then that would leave, I think, enough time for snap zooms and such on the artifacts.
Let's make it so. Jack, anybody else?
Well, I'm going to rely on Scott's opinion on this.
Yeah.
I mean, we got to do the best we can with the time we have, but we can't realistically take all of it and then some. So
apparently not.
ROV pilot, are you aware of the change in plan?
So you want to do orbits instead of the longitudinal lines?
We'd like to do it all, pilot, but we only have limited time. So I think what we should do is finish whatever line you're running now and then proceed to the brick pile. And let's do an orbit around that brick pile so we can view that from all sides and integrate that into the processing. And then we'll come up with the next area that the group would like to visit for sure, and then we'll do an orbit around those items, and then we'll proceed to lasers on snap viewing of individual items.
Yeah, good copy.
I think you're talking about the larger brick.
Where do we go
finishing
after
the line.
brick?
Yep. Just want to make sure
There's a brick pile and then more of a stone pile next to it. So should we do one orbit that encompasses both or two separate orbits?
I'd recommend two.
I would concur. I concur, too.
So I suggest one orbit around the brick pile, one orbit around the stone pile, and then maybe an orbit around the gudgeon.
What about the massive wood near the bow?
Yes.
All right,
that'd be
proceeding to the.
What about your conch shells?
I'm proceeding to the brick pile now.
Conch shells and stern.
So that's 4 total locations: orbit around the brick pile, an orbit around the stone pile. I don't know the orientation relative to bow or stern. The pile of wood remains near the bow and the conch.
Roger.
Is that right?
I think this is bricks.
Did we say the gudgeon?
Stones, that's bow. I don't know where the conch.
If you're including 4, that would include the
I
gudgeon.
don't know the other wood pile either.
So you've got the
Gudgeon and the
pile,
conch, I think, were the gudgeon and the conch were fairly close proximity, if I remember.
Yeah, I'm not confident in that.
Yeah, I don't recall.
Okay, so we have 5 locations then. We have the brick pile that we're approaching now. We have the pile of stone near that.
Okay.
We have
Right on
the
top of the
pile of
pile.
wood near the bow. We have the conch and the gudgeon.
Looking at the brick pile.
Yeah. Stone pile right below you.
Yep.
Bow, I know where that is. I'm not sure where the pile of wood is yet.
Does anybody know how to orient the pilot towards the pile of stone that's near this? I don't have a.
We're just passing over it right now, so we would be returning after we do this orbit in the direction we just came from.
Can we ask the pilot too to ensure that the octant and the stoneware jug are within the frames on the orbit?
He's got it. You guys are just seeing.
I see the jug, and the octant. I'm assuming is that metal device right next to the jug.
Yes, sir. Correct.
All right, those are both in the shot. Doing the orbit now, so let me know if you want me to adjust how I'm doing this.
Looks good. Just keep the distance from the pile about the same.
All right, good copy.
The artifact by the fish in the brick pile is something we may want to come back and zoom on later.
Watch leads, Nav.
So
Be
what's another
advised we
thing?
have
Could be a compass
90 minutes
binnacle.
of bottom time remaining.
Well, yeah, we're
Center
passing.
bottom of frame is what I thought might be the gimbal.
Yes. Yeah, we will come back to what we're approaching, and we will want to zoom on these. But we're doing perfect right now. This is a great orbit.
Do you want multiple orbits or just one? Different directions?
We just need one, thank you.
All right,
And
copy.
by the way, there's 90 minutes left in the dive.
Copy that. 90 minutes.
Should be plenty of time to do 5 orbits, I imagine.
What are the large square plates that seem to be, they'll be coming into the left of your picture beneath the
I thought maybe plate glass.
plate glass?
Either plate glass or slate.
Oh, slate, okay. Some scallops.
So, Josh, I have a good idea where the pile of stones are.
Yeah, it's right next to the pile of rocks.
And the bow.
There's that weird copper object, Frank, too, just below that stoneware jug. I still have no idea what that could be.
Yeah, that's the one I've been looking at. There's an image of it from Hui, but it's a little pixelated. I was hoping at some point we could get a quick and close-up look at it.
Jack, as I'm looking at this brick, I still feel this is still consistent with galleys to me, as opposed to ballast or even cargo.
Your DVL nav here. You can see how
Yeah,
close
it's
your
fine.
circle.
No,
It's a pretty good circle, by the way.
I wouldn't think
Good with circles. Good with circles, not so good with
I
straight lines.
think it is galley.
Okay, pilot, at the end of this rotation, let's turn around, and you should see a pile of ballast stones. We'd like an orbit around that next, please.
Pilot copies. Turning to the stones now.
Maybe turn.
Go turn the other way.
Yeah.
See all the wood under those stones right there.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen what could be both frames and some ceiling planking.
Pilot's nav, that orbit just took 4 minutes, so we would have time to do.
Does anybody think that cup might be modern?
Shut up.
That is a possibility, but it could also be could have a glazer. That's going to be one of the things to zoom in on.
Was that a prompt for me, Scott?
Yeah, it was. It was totally for you.
Okay, yes. I will say that about an hour and a half ago, I said I think that is a classic Starbucks cup. But I didn't want to be really wrong. But I still think it is.
Well, it wouldn't be the first time we've seen modern garbage, even on an old one. I don't think I've been anywhere on the bottom where I haven't seen garbage.
Hey, Jim, that is a pretty loose pile of bricks, isn't it? It makes me think of, the flooring, the fire brick flooring in the galley or something.
Yeah.
I've seen sections of tri-works, and those are actually mortared together. Any kind of raised structure like that would have to be, but those are all just kind of scattered.
Yeah, I agree. Whereas this looks more like ballast.
Oh, yeah, now. I was dialing back in, hence the delay on the bricks.
That cup almost has an almost plastic sheen, but that could also be glazed.
It seemed to have like ridges tapered at the top on the other views I got.
Yeah, it's almost threaded like my kid's sippy cup.
Yeah.
Hi, this is Scott Harris at the College of Charleston, geologist primarily. I'm curious about the ballast stones. They all look fairly similar as far as rock type. Do you usually get more of a heterogeneous mixture of them, or do they tend to be very similar?
It depends on who is putting it in the ship. In some cases, they would just be picking stuff off the bottom and dropping it in. But for ships that are more tightly run in the past, like in the 19th century, you have a good mate in there. You're going to get
like
river cobble in particular is highly desired. It's less angular, fits together, easier to handle by the crew.
Jim, just a second. ROV pilot, can we move to the bow section? There should be a larger wooden structure at the bow, and if we could get an orbit around that, please.
Yeah, good copy. Heading that way now. Going past this additional rock pile. It's the conch shells.
What you don't want...
Can we do the conch now?
Yes, we can do the conch now.
Okay, let's do the conch now then.
All right.
Okay. So what you don't want is a bunch of nasty river bottom, a lot of mud.
I'm gonna go the other way.
Earlier ships that did that had problems with sanitation, particularly in the voyages of exploration. Some of the crews would use those holes filled with that kind of loose ballast as sort of their cat sandbox in which the crew would relieve themselves. not exactly the most hygienic way to do it.
If I were
But
to
this looks to me to
speculate,
be
I would say this was food.
somebody that knew what they were doing and
Yeah.
bestowing not clean ballast.
Excellent. Thank you.
But I also don't know, like, how do you eat a conch? Do you have to, like, break it open?
I'm not familiar.
They poke a hole in the shell.
Yeah. So,
scoop it out.
If we see any holes in the shell, this will, or if we don't see holes in the shell, maybe they were alive.
I thought you meant food.
You're going to have to really think about overall site size and how many lines we can get reasonably
live food storage
based on ROV speed and other things. It may be worth setting up some data, sort of risk analysis of how many passes we get, the kind of quality we see, so on. That may be study worthy.
I agree. I think it'll be important for future mission planning as well, too, as we engage with OER and others in regards to, taking this approach and working with it, because I do see the absolute benefit to doing this and getting these types of captures, as opposed to our past practice of quick tours and then zooming in on things and not getting an overall sense, or a detailed map. And it may be that we begin to define some of these missions moving forward, particularly with OER, as
picture up here to the right is what you would want next. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's the gudgeon, I think. So we're at the stern, I believe. Is that right?
Yeah, we are at the stern, but let's get it.
Yeah, let's get it.
Okay, copy that.
Okay, this is the stern. I thought this was the bow. What do you say? The gudgeon?
So, Hans, are you at the stern or are you at the bow?
You have an opportunity on your hands.
Your view.
Now.
Notice the spread of the gudgeon there, and the fact that it is broken.
You think it landed stern first?
I'm beginning to wonder if this thing landed maybe not so much stern first, but more to the starboard side.
Why would it be broken?
Impact.
I think from the ones we've been seeing recently in the deep sea that unless it gets trapped and crushed under the stern, they tend to pop off fairly easily.
they do pop off, but you see how this one is missing. One hole. It's missing its starboard strap. It's broken off.
Okay, shoreside. Where to next?
We want to go to the bow section, to the opposite end, and there's a wooden pile of members towards that bow section that are on the very terminal end of it, and we'd like an orbit around that, and then I think Jim is going to direct to the different individual artifacts for you.
Copy.
Interesting that the conch are congregated aft in the area of the cabin.
Captain likes conch.
Or things tumbled.
Is that it?
Okay,
Yeah,
is
that's
this...
an odd break if that is the gudgeon, because it seemed like the hole for the pin was still there, but the arm was broken. If it was intact to the rudder, I'd expect the pin to be gone, the hole to be ripped, and not still attached.
Yeah.
Is this the structure we want to look at, shoreside?
That the spread of the...
this is it, pilot.
All right, good copy.
The spread of the strap, though, Hans, it suggested to me that it was gudgeon fitting to the hull as opposed to the more knife-like form of a rudder. But
What's the off-bottom time?
Right now we have...
So biologically, folks on Okeanos or on the line, is there anything that's of note to the creatures and species that are on this site, which is, kind of a rare chance to get onto some substrate amidst a lot of deep water silt and mud?
2:30 or is it
2:30?
I haven't noticed anything that would be unusual to find in this kind of habitat. I know that the fish that we've videoed several times now, the gray fish, is a type of a cuskeel, a pachycara probably, and those are often found around structure. So that would be, a very likely occurrence. And the rest of these organisms are usual for deep, soft sediment kind of habitats. You can definitely see the shipworm shells, little tubes all around. So when you're going back through the video, I'm sure you'll see more of those. And the shipworms are actually mollusks. If you looked at Megan McCullough's tweet about this, they're actually mollusks that have bodies that look kind of like worms, and so that's why they're called shipworms. But you'll see some of those castings around, and that's from the worms that have eaten this ship over time.
Yeah, the feast is almost over.
I think after this one, we're going to zoom subjects with lasers. I think.
Okay, pilot, when you complete this orbit, if you can turn back on the lasers, and then I think Jim Delgado here is going to direct the individual artifact investigation.
Yeah, good copy. That completes the orbit of the bow. So I'm just going to take a turn out here, and then we'll have lasers on and be ready to do some zooms.
Ready for lasers?
Let me just take this out.
So, team, first priority is going to be the brick pile, as I recollect, with examination of some of those individual artifacts.
Yes, I should be right behind the ROV at the moment.
All right.
All right, we can get lasers on. Oh, I'm tilted way down. That's why. All right, so.
Do you want me to double check your drawer is all the way in?
Yeah, you can go ahead and do that, but it's pretty sure it's all the way in.
Looks like a set of dividers right there.
Where did you see those, Jack?
Yeah. Kind of right in the middle of the image I'm seeing right now, at the edge of the brick pile. Just looks like you see one arm. Yeah, kind of right where the lasers just turned on, at least in my view.
Okay.
Hey, we're ready for zooms.
One little end of an arm.
Okay. So, pilot, from where you are now, what we'd like you to do is to move slightly, whatever's closest to you as you continue this turn. We have a couple of options. We have the large stoneware jug next to the plate that might be glass. Next to that, we have a couple of other bottles or ceramics, and we have the copper artifact. Why don't we try to zoom? We can zoom there. We also have that piece of copper right in front of us with another artifact.
Yeah, go ahead in video.
So just directly below your lasers.
Partial.
Okay.
Or directly above, whatever you...
Yeah, come on in tight.
Okay, so right now, directly below your lasers is one area of artifacts to take a look at. At approximately 11 o'clock to your lasers are the ceramics, and then at about 10 o'clock are other ceramics.
Let's look at the bottom
At
of that
3
jug
o'clock,
to see if
eat
we
the
can see
jug.
any writing.
I'm sorry, what?
Any chance that's bone underneath the jug there?
Or shell.
The long pieces forming a V to the left of the jug.
I see that. I don't know. It could be.
We might want to zoom in.
That's good. This is good.
Okay, you want to just pan up the jug?
It could be bone.
That looks like a comb. Did you see that?
Yes. Okay.
You never made it to the top.
Yep. Just trying to get this comb right here.
Okay, pilot, slightly to port.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah. Okay, let's pull out a little bit from the view.
Let's come out partial, Roland. All right.
That is a comb, Amy.
Yeah, it looks very similar to those double-sided combs that we had on LaBelle. Though this is a much later wreck, often those styles didn't change much historically over time.
Roger that. Let's throw the lasers on that.
Did you say show or kill?
Yeah, he wants to show the lasers.
We had those combs on Maple Leaf, too, Civil War.
The button,
copper
all round object.
Yeah, that is interesting. The copper or bronze or brass.
Yeah, we can come in on the brass here.
I'm not seeing the brass.
The green.
Is that an instrument?
Or would it?
I wonder.
And I'm going to call out Frank, who noticed at one point in time the similarity between some of those discs buttons with the loops on the back. And I'm not saying it's not a larger device, but rather look like a couple of them do look similar to buttons.
Yeah, they do. Now that we're getting around this end, it looks like buttons with a with the loop in the back, doesn't it? Yes, that's what we're looking at.
Yeah, I was wondering if it might be a package that contains some buttons.
See if I can come down a little bit. I'm not on top of anything, right?
Yeah, there's nothing.
Possibly a sewing kit of some sort.
Right.
I don't know if that could be a symbol in the background there. Hard to tell from the side.
Are they adjusting your lights, or you like them where they're at?
It looks to be another button individually off to the left.
Yeah, you can come back in, Roland.
Yeah, Irina commented that she may have seen a pipe stem as well.
Uh-huh.
Missing lasers.
Come and take.
Look, we're doing an I Spy game.
And again, not to identify things, but there's that small glass bottle to the left that could be a type of pharmaceutical bottle as well. I'm not saying that's what it is, but it has that appearance.
Right. Okay, pilot, the stoneware jug and the pile of buttons we just looked at, below those are two ceramic objects.
Come on out partial, Roland.
We should get a tight of the buttons at this angle.
Yeah.
You're so much
So
tighter.
after we get this view, that's nice.
Pilots, be advised we have 60 minutes left on bottom.
Copy.
That gives us a 3-minute setup.
Sounds good.
All right, come on in, Roland.
That's interesting.
Watch lead nav.
Yeah. There's that other button.
Be advised we have 60 minutes remaining on the bottom.
And we have about an hour left, 60 minutes left on the bottom, just FYI.
Roger that. Okay, ROV, let's drop down towards those two ceramics just below the buttons.
Yeah, we're looking at them now. You should be seeing them in a few seconds. Let me know if these aren't what you want to see.
We're on a delay here at shore
Yeah.
side. Okay. Amy, is that glass or is that ceramic? Looks ceramic to me.
Is that a mug with a handle?
It kind of does. I'm having a hard time.
No.
It's looking more along the lines of ink bottle to me, as opposed to the brownware. It looks like the glaze is coming off of that guy.
Yeah, let's come out partial. Your lasers on still?
Yeah, you dip down.
Did you see that rounded outline in the mud? That could be another one buried. And okay, ROV, let's come off of that a bit, and that doesn't look like glass to me.
No.
It looks like slate or stone, some other stone.
It's coming tight on this.
Well, I'm wondering about that second smaller piece, if there's translucency to that or if it's staining. I couldn't really tell.
Yeah, there's translucency to the second one. I'm zooming in on it now.
That does look like glass.
Yeah, that smaller piece looks like glass. I'm not sure about the larger.
The smaller piece does look like glass, yes.
Can't really tell if it's thick or thin. Like, is it just buried?
Well, that's definitely glass, the smaller piece.
The larger one is thin. You can see a shadow under it.
Yeah.
Yeah, coming out partial.
Is that a pipe? Is that a pipe on the right?
That would be a very big... oh, the brown thing? I don't think so, Roland.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
I'd suggest moving on. Yeah, I do too. Let's pull back a little bit and let's head towards navigational instrument, please.
Hey, come on out, Roland.
Did you guys see what looked like an orange-brown pipe?
Yes.
Smoking pipe?
Right there. Actually, pilot, do you see the thing that looks like a pipe?
Yes, I saw that.
Between the bricks?
Yes.
Okay.
Do you want to zoom in on that?
Just quickly, please.
All right, come on in, Roland.
That's pretty thin, Jim. I wonder if it's a sheet of lead, a square of lead pounded thin. But onwards to the pipe.
Yeah, I think you might be right, Roland.
Yeah, that definitely looks like a clay pipe.
Right.
So now let's go to the...
I've never gotten a focus on it yet.
Let's start low and let's look at the probable compass. Everybody see what looks like what may be the glass or something having slid out towards the bottom?
So where is the compass they were talking about?
I think it's the right leg.
To the right?
Yeah. Just slightly down and right of your leg.
That does appear to... Everybody's seeing, with the delay of apologies, that does look like a clay pipe.
Let's come on in, Roland.
Stubby one.
It does.
Are you on the pipe now, Jim?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, if you just quickly go up in your browser, hit that padlock, go into your settings, activate your flash player.
We're on the compass now, Jim.
All right. That's what it does appear to be, everybody. It's a bowl compass.
I'm not sure about this. Was this what we were thinking was a gimbal? Because it looks like doesn't look like cupreous object, and it looks like it's broken, irregularly broken. It looks like it has a depth to it.
Right.
Like a container, perhaps.
I don't know. It's the thinnest one. This looks more compassy to me. I think that is part of the gimbal. We don't have to put the name on. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was just going to say, I've seen some cauldrons that have a similar shape like that.
That's possible.
There's a handle to the right.
You know, especially if we are somewhere near the aft end of the vessel.
Right. What's the size of this thing?
All right, getting you a shot with lasers now.
25-ish centimeters, maybe.
Okay. Hard to call. If we've got a good look at it, let's move on to the jug. And then we'll look at the octane.
Let's get the jug here.
Roger that.
See if we can see through the handle.
Amy, I've seen a jug about this size, maybe a little smaller, that dates to the late 20s, early 30s in the type collection. This kind of strap handle.
Yeah, I'm not as familiar with the dating for those, but I recollect it's not an uncommon ceramic jug type.
No.
Pulling for full.
Pilot, you're just teasing everybody with that navigational instrument, just saying.
We can move on up to that if you're all set with the jug.
Roger that. I'd like to look at the top of the jug as well, if we can.
Yeah, good copy. I'll come around so you can see the top better.
On some of these, what you find, particularly in this style, is the maker would often stamp their name and the town they're in on the other face of a jug like this. The type one that I've seen,
right, it's
the
coming
same
in
size
rolling.
and style, has the name D. Goodale on it from Hartford, Connecticut.
There seems to be a small square plate on one of the arms of the octane, too.
Yes. It would be nice to zoom on when we get to the point. At this angle, the round thing looks less like a compass and more like a cauldron, because that's looking more like iron, perhaps.
Let's come out a little bit, Ron.
Could be lead, though. Nice.
If we can hold this angle, the left side shows underneath the sextant.
Not seeing anything written there, but it could be in the sediment if there's writing.
I'm going to tilt down and starts.
I'm like almost all the way down, Roland.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, let's take a look at the octane now, pilot.
Hey, go ahead
Not
and
to
roll
talk for Jack, but I think he wants
Losing
to look at that
light
plate
under the
too.
edge.
On that arm.
As you continue to
And he's
twist.
not alone. This is in much better shape than the Monterey's, isn't it, guys?
I didn't think the Monterey's was too bad, actually. I'd have to look at those images again.
Is that full zoom rolling?
Yes, it
sure
is.
Nice to read that plaque.
More inset.
Ah, it would have been a piece of ivory that might have come out.
Fallen out, right?
Yeah. It would have probably been the manufacturer's name. Darn it.
Ivory survive well out here?
No.
Let's come in partial. Let's come out partial. Just frame it from this angle.
Yeah, that's an inset. It's where the ivory plate would have been. And that is an octant.
And what is the difference between a sextant and an octant?
The graduation of the arc. Octants are generally older, but they kept using them. Sextants had a little more accuracy and were the later style.
I think an octant's an eighth of a circle and a sextant's a sixth of a circle.
That's correct.
Okay, Shoreside, I'm swapping out for the next pilot. Sean will be taking over for me here.
Thank you very much. You've been exceptional. We really appreciate all that you've done.
My pleasure.
Thank you, pilot.
I've sent email some pictures to the expedition coordinator to email off to you guys so that you could see how accurate he was manually flying those orbits.
The view we just had roughly approximated was the view that we had from the Alvin camera in 2015 of this area. So it'll be a nice thing to compare to.
Like 2 turns.
Copy. All right, Shoreside, you have a new pilot in the chair. I understand we're just going around and taking zooms on things, so if you see anything, just let me know.
That is correct.
Are we going to do the gudgeon next?
I think we've... I think we've got the gudgeon. I think we're set.
Where's that white and blue, whatever it is?
I'm sorry, go ahead, Jack.
The white and blue object we kept seeing.
Stone pile. So, pilot, what we're going to want to do is have you turn to starboard, head back over this brick pile, and head towards the stone pile. So,
copy that. Go starboard.
Is that a ceramic object directly below us next to the bottle? Can you stop for a second, pilot?
Yep.
Does everybody see the jug, the cauldron or compass? And
Video,
right
you want to go for partial?
Directly to about 3 o'clock from that, you see what's in the bottom there? Right in the area just above that bottle.
Below and to the right of the laser.
Roger that.
Know what he's talking about, video?
I think he's still talking down below our current image.
Down below, copy.
To the bottom right of the...
He's not talking about that thing right there? You want lasers on?
Yeah, they're on. I'm just tilted all the way
I just see a somewhat circular object, so it appears, right by the bottle. Does everybody see it? Moving down.
I think it's that object we just are passing over.
So we want to drop now towards
this one video?
ROV, not more towards 9 o'clock.
So now he's
actually
saying,
sorry, make that 6 o'clock.
Okay, we're going to have to hold for a second, let you guys identify.
And in the opposite direction of where we are now.
Okay, can you give us reference to the jug with the handle?
They're on. It's
yeah, I know.
Okay.
I was thinking, I don't know.
Yeah.
We currently have the lasers on the
one
just below the jug.
Video is you are.
We currently have the lasers just below the jug. Can you, when you see that image, can you give us a reference from there? And now we're on a your delay is difficult.
Right now we're just in a patch of. I'm delayed, so apologies.
Yeah. So
Yeah, copy that. No problem. Shore
Where do you want him to head, Jim?
I wanted him to, on my screen, I wanted him to go below, below the jug, and right next to below the jug and the octant,
maybe it's that
and
thing.
below the bowl or cauldron.
Okay, and was it the black item?
Next to a black bottle.
We're there now.
Okay, it's
Roger
above.
that. Bear with me for a second as I catch up.
No, it's the one above to the left.
Slightly more to the right, pilot.
Okay.
I think he's talking about that little pile right to the right.
To the right?
Yeah, there's a rounded. There's
Okay,
a rounded,
yeah,
almost
there's round.
end.
Yeah, video. What kind of delay do we have?
Heading towards it.
They're got upwards to 30 to 40 seconds.
Copy that. It's a big delay. Copy. All right, Shoreside, is this... I'll stay here for a moment, and just let me know.
Right. Can you zoom on that end that looks rounded?
Yeah, video, go for zoom.
We have zoomed at this point near the coral. And now we're max zoom around the black cylindrical object.
Okay, so there's a base of a bottle, and then does everybody see that? Just want to get a capture of that.
This looks like a screw head.
Can you shift so we're looking right at the bottom of it?
Top. Yeah, copy that. Shoreside, stand by.
I think we need to get you guys a link to a different set of streams. You guys seem like you're on the very delayed streams.
Yeah, we are on a very delayed stream.
We'll see if we can get an email out to you guys of the shorter delay.
All right. So we don't need to tarry long. I just wanted to get a capture of this. It's a strange and funky looking thing, and we can move on.
Trying to keep you in view. I'm not sure.
You coordinate with
the cobalt blue ceramic where you want to go next?
Sure.
Yes, please.
All right, pilot, we need to go over that brick pile towards the bow of the vessel, and you'll see a pile of ballast stones. On the opposite end of your approach will be a brightly colored, almost glass sheeny cup with cobalt blue coloring on it.
Copy that. Looking for a cobalt blue cup. Going over
straight forward.
The brick pile now.
So they're calling this a brick pile, and the pile in front they're calling a rock pile.
Copy, brick, rock.
And I believe they're referring to that glass looking.
Oh, see that cup thing that's like above your lasers?
Cup.
Come up to the center.
Yeah, coming almost into center of screen now. Just above where your lasers are.
Copy that.
About
video.
30 centimeters is that cup.
Go for zoom.
So let's get the zoom.
That looks
almost a canister.
Plastic, anyone?
It's like trash almost.
Looks like that. I'm not there yet. Cable is not up to speed with it.
From my vantage point, it looks like 3 stacked plastic style cups. They don't quite look like threads.
Yeah, it could be stacked, like you said.
Yeah.
If we look at the back end, we could probably see the bottom side. It might have a stamp of some sort.